All right, everybody, welcome back. So, I gotta tell you, when I first saw this knife, I I didn't want it, and that was due to Nut and Fancy's personal experience with it. So let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into today. I got for you guys the Cold Steel Pocket Bushman. I don't know if I don't know if they have improved the construction of this knife or if they are still using the original design. I remember watching Nut and Fancy's channel, and if you guys are a fan of knives and gear and, TNP and all that other stuff, then you would know Nut and Fancy. If you don't know about him, he does what I do, but way the hell better. Reviewing gear and knives, and I remember this was before I started YouTube, he was talking about a lot of cold steel stuff and Benchmade stuff, and one thing that drew me away, kind of long story short type bit, one thing that drew me away from this knife was the video that he posted about the Pocket Bushman, and that thing was this knife at the time, and this was a very old video, was a very terrible design. And the reason why that was because the lock bar insert just failed on him. It basically just came right out. It turned into this freely swinging knife, and he sent it back to Cold Steel. Cold Steel fixed it and then sent it back to him, and it did the same thing. The spring in there that held the lock bar in place just failed on him, and it was just a bad spring, bad design. If you don't know about it, look it up. Pocket Bushman review, I believe. If you just put that in the search bar of the YouTube, Nut and Fancy, and I'm pretty sure you should be able to find it pretty easily. Anyways, that was, I know that's kind of a long intro, but here's the knife. I've had this knife for a little while now, and I gotta tell you, it's a beast of a knife. It really is. It has a very strong lock. I haven't had any issues with it thus far. I have carried it for the better part of, I think, a month, around about a month roughly, if not a little bit longer than that. I actually enjoy this knife. I gotta tell you, I enjoy it. It slides in and out of I can't speak, I'm sorry. Slides in and out of the pocket with ease. It doesn't tear up the pockets at all. It is a big knife, all right, and it does have some heft and weight to it. So if you are looking for a type of knife that is lightweight, this is not for you. I'm going to tell you right now, this is solid metal, all right? This is all one just big hunk of steel inside of your pocket. You got this lanyard right here. You guys know I'm not too much of a fan of lanyards. We'll get into the specs of the knife. Actually, you know what? Here are the specs right there. All right, 4.5 inches. Yeah, that's a big knife. All right, overall length of 10 1/4 stainless steel. You got that 4116 German stainless steel, or at least I'm told it's German stainless steel. It's like that, I don't know, ice water quenched, whatever I don't even remember what it was exactly. Weight, that's over 5 ounces. You got 6.6 ounces. So this is not a little knife at all by any means. The blade's huge, the handle's huge. It's just a big old knife. So nothing yeah, nothing fancy about this box. Nothing really crazy. It's just a regular box. So the way this works, all right, and this is not an easy knife to open either because of its locking mechanism. This thing is, it's a beast to open, all right? Now, the way this knife is designed to be kind of like a folding fixed blade. And why do I say that? In the Cold Steel videos, they treat this knife as if it was a fixed blade. And at the time, that's kind of a revolutionary thing, being, this being an older model. And it was kind of one of those knives where you could do fixed blade stuff with a folding knife type topic. And I don't want to go into all that. I don't want to get into all the whole technicals of that. All I know is that this is a very strong lock. Dare I say, is it stronger than the Triad lock? I don't want to say those words. I do want to say that this is a humongous knife that is great for outdoors and camping, and that's exactly kind of what it's designed for. Hence the name Pocket Bushman, all right? So you got that 4116 stainless steel Taiwan. You got all that good and happy stuff on there. It is a thumb stud opening deploying knife, although you can, if you want to, you can just pinch grip it and open it with the other hand, although not a lot of people are fans of that. There's just those two methods of opening this knife. Have I tried flicking this open? Yes, and don't do that. Just don't do that. This is a very dangerous knife to flick open, wrist flick. This thing is gonna either fly out of your hand, or it's just not gonna open up. This locking mechanism on this knife prevents that from being an option. What you can do is what Nut and Fancy did, is you can grab the lanyard and the lock bar, and you see how it kind of frees the blade a little bit. You can do that and then ride it open with your thumb, and it will actually open up that way a lot easier if you want to do that route. Although I wouldn't suggest it, because I think that's how Nut and Fancy broke his knife, was because of doing that. Although when you do unlock the blade, you do have to disengage the lock as such, using two hands, not one. You can't use one hand doing this. This is just a very strong lock bar, and the spring tension in there is ridiculous. So that's what prevents this knife from opening with ease, and sometimes in some cases closing with ease. So this is this is not your average knife for your little, pansy-handed kind of people. If you want that, this is basically a beating knife for the woods, all right? That's what I'm gonna call it that, because that's exactly what it's designed for. It's designed for just hard task camping, that you don't want to put your more flimsier, more stylish, more babyier kind of knives to. This is a outdoorsy kind of knife, and it's built for that. So I don't know how many ways I gotta state that. So we'll get into the specs, and we'll get into my personal thoughts, although I kind of added my personal thoughts at the beginning. Let's see here. So the length of this bad boy, even though we already got to the specs, I'm going to do them myself. So yeah, 4.5 inches, but the cutting edge, you're looking at a cutting edge is less than 4 inches, and it is on screen. But your blade reach, if you are holding this knife correctly, you have a little over, just a smidge over 5 inches of reach. So this is a big knife, assuming that you're holding it in preferred grip like so. If you're choking up on it, well then, your reach is going to be a little bit limited. But yeah, this knife is pretty big. So overall, from tip to the butt of the knife, you're looking at 10 1/4 inches of knife. This is a damn big knife. This really is. Whenever I carry this thing, I hate having the lanyard stick out, because lanyards tend to get caught on stuff. So that's another reason why I don't really do lanyards on knives, unless they are knives that are small and they fit into your pocket to where you need something to grab onto. Then I think a lanyard is necessary. But if you're going to be outdoors with this thing, I think a lanyard's fine. If you're going to, use this as some sort of anchor to tie around your wrist, if you need to extend that, you can. You got that option. But for everyday carry, I think lanyards kind of get hung up on stuff, and it's just kind of, I don't know. You see, I almost cut myself just now. Not a huge fan of lanyards. You guys know this. Necessary for certain things, but not everything. Just my own personal opinion. You're entitled to yours. All right, so the weight on this. Okay, stop moving. 6.44, 6.45. What does it say on the box? What does it say on the box? 6.6? Huh. Well, all right. 6.44, 6.45 is what it's showing on the scale. My major thing about this is I don't think I want to EDC this knife. This is not a fast deploying knife. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you are looking for a knife that doesn't break the bank, then this is what? This is like a, when I got it, oh geez, I don't even remember how much it was. I think it was 15 bucks. But I ended up paying a little bit more for fast shipping, so it kind of came up to either $20 to $30, I think, with tax and shipping. So it was almost double the price, but it was well worth it. I mean, this knife does not feel like a around about $20 to $30 knife. This knife feels like a $60 to $80 knife, in my personal opinion. Now, blade steel, on the other hand, not a lot of people care much for that blade steel, but in my opinion, it's better than 440 stainless. That's just my personal opinion. I'm sure everyone's got their own, and you guys are probably going to disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. This blade steel, I don't want to say is the best, but for the price, it's not bad. It really isn't. It's better than Pakistan steel, and I freaking hate pot steel that they used to put back in knives way back when I was younger. They didn't have all these crazier knife steels back when I was younger collecting knives. They had 440 stainless, China steel, Pakistan steel. They had all those other steels. So having different steels nowadays is actually really nice. You know, I haven't heard of other steels. But then again, maybe I wasn't really paying attention back then. So now that we have, you know, learned a lot, we know that there are good steels and bad steels, and I can tell you that this steel is actually not that bad. I haven't had a chance to sharpen it. I've used it very lightly, but this is a nice and big knife. This is not a very comfortable knife when you hold it in the hand, I gotta tell you. If I like the swell on here that they put, you know, that kind of like domed shape. But the insides right here are a little bit sharp when you're holding it in the hand. Now, not sharp as in like they're cutting into the skin, but you can certainly feel them. They're not uncomfortable, but I'm sure if you're working with bare hands with this knife, it's going to be uncomfortable over time. If you're going to use this knife, I suggest wear gloves, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, well, I'm going to use gloves, duh. All right, well, yeah, okay. Some people, not everybody likes wearing gloves when they have knives. Some people do, some people don't, all right? I am going to tell you one thing, though. The one thing that kind of makes me nervous is that little tip right there. So I am actually touching that right now. I am touching the tip, and it is catching onto my skin. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is catching onto my skin. That can be a bad thing, but because of this arch right here, it prevents me from accidentally snabbing my finger. That's a new word, snabbing. Stabbing and nipping or nabbing my finger on that tip. So, I mean, take that for what it is. This is not a hugely expensive knife, so I can't expect this thing to be perfect everywhere. But it's simple construction. It's just a big old piece of steel folded over and domed in the middle to make a handle. You got the lock bar with the freaking, you know, with the spring in there. You can switch your pocket clip between right and left, but it's only tipped up. So just keep that in mind. This is still a pretty huge knife. My calipers aren't working. I'm sorry. I need to buy new calipers. I think they're dead. I put new batteries in them, but they're not working. I don't know why. Maybe they're bad batteries. I don't know. Either way, this is the type of knife, if you're looking for a folding knife that you can take out hiking or camping, this is a fantastic option. Don't expect it to be a fast deploying knife. It is not. It is the complete opposite of that. So I can't stress that enough. Overall, though, EDCing this knife, I have found myself just being very careful with the opening of this knife, because when you do open it, it's not a very fast deploying knife, and it is a humongous blade. Over 4 inches, I think 4 inches is still, that's a decent amount of blade. Going over 4 inches and then adding this extra amount of reach, you have a pretty big knife regardless. So it's nice. I really do like it. I think, you know, this is an older design, and I think personally, Cold Steel back then was a far better company than they are now. And I'm sure a lot of people can agree with me on that. When I first, like I said, when I first saw this knife, I immediately just didn't want it. First of all, it's not a very attractive looking knife to me, in my personal opinion. I just thought that this knife kind of it just didn't look that great. But if you want a good quality knife for super cheap that you can beat on and it's going to last better than normal knives at this price range, this is a fantastic option for you. Now, of course, me getting this knife later on, it was a little bit of a struggle to find this knife available for purchase, because it seemed to be sold out in a lot of places. And if it wasn't, it was just, shipment was going to take a while. So is it worth it? Well, I guess that all just depends on whether or not you want this knife bad enough. I did it because I like Cold Steel, and I'm a very big fan of their older stuff. That's originally why. And like I said, I was very wishy-washy when I saw Nut and Fancy's review on it the very first time, when I actually wanted to go out and buy this knife, and I was actually able to get it. I shied away from it because I felt that I was going to have the same experience. And that kind of, it gives you that understanding that there's going to be some knives that are going to slip through the cracks that another person's going to get, and it's not going to be up to par. It's not going to be up to good quality. And you know what? That could be the company's fault, not necessarily the user. So that could be just one of the bad ones that slip through, and, some people, we endure, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But so far, I haven't had that issue. Like I said, I've been playing around with this knife safely, opening and closing using the locking mechanism on this thing, and I gotta tell you, it's a solid knife. It really is. Whenever I open it, I know that I'm going to open it slowly, but I practice. That actually kind of helps me. I know it takes two hands to close this knife. I can't close it one-handed, but I can open it one-handed. After doing this several times, you're going to feel it's going to take some, you're going to grow a callus on your thumb or something, because that's going to be one hell of a beast, just opening and closing this bad boy. Is that a bad thing? I wouldn't say so. I think that, every knife has its ups and downs. It's got its flaws and its, good things. This knife in particular is designed to have a strong lock. So that strong lock is going to be one of the good things about it. It's reliable. One of the bad things about it is the deployment is not going to be very quick. So I'm sure you guys already know that. This, to me, is a fantastic knife now. Back then, I looked at this knife and I was like, nah, I'm not interested in it. It doesn't look that great, and it doesn't function that great. But I gotta be honest with you, now that I have it in hand, and now that I have it in my collection, I like it. I really do. It grew on me. It really did. Really, really did. I've seen some other past videos of people doing modifications to this knife, and, I think that's cool and all. But I like to keep it the way it is. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. But it feels great. You got a lot of knife sticking out of the pocket, all right? So if you're going to carry this thing, you're going to have a decent, half an inch sticking out? You got this lanyard tail sticking out. Whenever I carry it, I actually tuck the lanyard into my pocket, like so. So it actually looks like that. Just so it doesn't get caught on stuff. Other than that, I think it's a fantastic knife. It's a budget knife that's built like it's not a budget knife, to be honest. Very, very happy with the build quality of this knife. Very happy. I think it's fantastic. That opening, man, that's a beast. Anyways, go ahead and slash that like button, stab that subscribe, slice that bell icon so you guys are notified anytime I post these new videos for you guys. So be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I'll see you all amazing people in the next video.